welcome to the podcast dedicated entirely to the fascinating world of Iyengar Yoga and the legacy of B.K.S. Iyengar. Together we will dive in to the tradition, principles, and personal stories that have made the Iyengar Yoga method one of the most unique forms of yoga in the world. This is a journey into the philosophy and profound elements of the lifelong work established by B.K.S. Iyengar and his family. In this episode, Galia and I were honored to meet Prashant Iyengar. Thank you, sir, for generously agreeing to meet with us and take part in this podcast.
Thank you. Pleasure.
I'm so excited. So we will start with the questions. So I would like to that you will share with us what are your earliest memories as student of Guruji. What were those first classes like?
First classes? My first classes?
Yes.
Okay. Well, as far as Guruji was concerned, for me and Geeta, he said, I'm not going to teach you anything. You will have to learn on your own. That's how he was taught. So, like all others are used to getting a formal lessons and tuitions from Guruji, we did not get. He said you have to look, see, hear, study and learn yoga. So that's how it commenced for myself and even Geeta. We had to learn on our own. We were looking at him, we were watching him, we were hearing him, we are seeing him practice, and he expected that we learn and study the subject of yoga rather than being trained and then we becoming teachers. He said you must be a good student, so you learn the subject, you study the subject. So that's how it was totally a different way, the way myself and Geeta were handled. So he said you have to be student of the subject. Rather than I becoming teacher, then you become my students. So he didn't want that. So he said you should be a student of yoga. You have to learn by your own way. Watching, hearing. If you want, you can discuss, you can talk with me, but I will not teach you formally. You will have to learn on your own. So that was a unique way. Nobody else in the world got this way of teaching. They were all done spoon feeding. Okay.
Can you share with us a meaningful moment you experienced with Guruji outside of the yoga classes? Outside of the yoga hall. Yeah.
Outside. Well, outside of the yoga hall, we had much to learn from him, because outside the yoga hall, he was doing his own practice. He was doing his own studies, he was doing his own practice. So, all others learned yoga from their teachers in the yoga hall, while we had a lot to learn outside, watching him, seeing him, understanding him, comprehending him, studying him. So, well, much of yoga was learnt outside the hall, because it was then that he practiced. So we could learn from his practice, which was totally different. And then as we are students of yoga, we had to study yoga, and then we had to understand why is he practicing like this, what is the purpose of his practice, what is he targeting with his practice, what is his aim, what is he looking for, what is the goal. So we had to ascertain all these things by our own study of science of yoga, philosophy of yoga, subject of yoga. He said you will not understand yoga unless you understand what is yoga. You won't understand what I do unless you become students of yoga. So I had to become student of yoga to understand what it does.
In your classes you say every now and then you say that his practice outside of the hall was completely different. Also now you just said, right?
Yeah. Outside,
in what way was it
in the hall he was
different?
not practicing.
Yeah.
In the hall he was performing, he was showing. Now showing is not the way to practice. So in the classes he would show, he would perform, he would say look at my back, look at my leg, look at my waist, look at my this and that. So that is performance, and he was showing. But what he was practicing was not for showing purpose, he was doing for himself. So that's why I said if you want to understand what I do, you must be students of yoga. Otherwise you will never fathom, you will never understand what am I doing and why am I doing.
How you become student of yoga?
How?
How you become student of yoga?
Well, we have huge tradition, textual tradition of yoga. So there are so many books on yoga, so many texts on yoga. So we were looking into Patanjali Yoga Sutras, we were looking into Hatha Yoga Pradipika, Ghiran Samhita, Goraksha Shatak, and there are all these classical texts. So he said, when he said you have to learn yoga, naturally we had to turn to texts. And the textual tradition, with that Patanjali Yoga Sutras, we started understanding what is yoga for Patanjali. And therefore, I started comprehending why he is doing something. See, for example, why do you do Shirshasana? You do Shirshasana to feel well, feel fine. Because we never stand on the head, we usually stand on the legs. And we all do our practices to feel fine, to be healthy, to improve our anatomy, physiology, to improve our mind, psychological mind, mental mind. That is why we do. But the text told us something, Patanjali and the text of yoga told us something, that you don't do your yoga for fitness. You don't do yoga for wellness. Then that's how got a vision that why is he doing his practice back home regularly. It was not to keep fit, it was not to feel fine, it was not to get gratified saying that my anatomy is working well, mind is working well, brain is working well. So the textual tradition tells us something else about, and that's how I started fathoming, started imagining why he is doing Shirshasana, why he is doing Sarvangasana, why do we do Shirshasana, why do we do Sarvangasana. So when I was learning the postures. I was learning the physical culture, how to do Sarvangasana, where the hand should go, what should the hand do, how the body should be. So it all started with physical culture. Then I realized that he is not doing for what I am doing. I am trying to get Sarvangasana. He has already got Sarvangasana. Why is he doing them? I have not got Sarvangasana, so I am trying to get it. I have not got Urdhvanurasana, therefore I am trying to get it. But he had got it. Then, what was the purpose of his practice? Had to be ascertained. So Patanjali was guide, Hatha Yoga Pradipika was guide.
So you found the answers in the texts?
Yeah, through the textual tradition. Say for instance, why do you do asanas? We want to overcome dullness, torpidity, we want to feel electrified, we want to feel energetic, and that's why we do our yoga. While text says, asanani rajohanti, the rajoguna is what we seek. And classical yoga says it destroys rajoguna. It mitigates rajoguna. We try to do it. We want to feel electrified, energetic, strong, active, and not torpid, not dull. So we try to do our asanas to overcome torpidity, dullness, tamasic nature, etc., etc. While the text says asanani rajohanti, asanas are there to remove the rajoguna manifestation, which is we are trying to seek. So also I was seeking rajoguna in the beginning through my physical culture. I wanted to feel energetic, I wanted to feel strong, I wanted to kill my torpidity, dullness, inertia. So I was doing back arches, I was doing Shirshasana Sarvangasana to overcome the dullness, to overcome tamoguna. So that's how we started, but the text said gave another clue that if you suppose you counter your tamoguna, you have not reached your yoga. You are going to start yoga after you have mitigated tamoguna. So we were all in the beginning, we have exuberance of tamoguna, we are dull, we are lazy, we are stupid, we are motivated, we are etc. etc. We are stupid, unintelligent. That's all because of the tamoguna. So suppose that is overcome, but that's not the end of yoga. Yoga commences there according to tradition of the text. So that is why he was doing. So I realized I do Urdhvanasana to get Urdhvanasana. I do Urdhvanasana to polish my Urdhvanasana. I do my Urdhvanasana to say that it is good graphic, it is good photogenic asana. Proper proportion, symmetry, this and that, and alignment for eyes. So that's how I started my asanas. But then I realized he has all that attained already, then why is he practicing still? What is he practicing? For what he is practicing? So that's how the thought process started revealing me his psychodynamics. See, strangely, all his students claim that followers of Guruji. All his students claim that they are followers of Guruji. Nobody follows Guruji because they could not fathom why he is doing whatever he is doing. So when I am learning asanas, I have to be rajasic. Because I have to get the posture, I have to polish the posture, I have to improve the configuration of the posture, it should be symmetry, this and that, and it should exercise my anatomy, it should exercise my physiology. So it is all rajasic activity. But then he had conquered it. But yet he was practicing for after 50 years and 60 years and 70 years. What was he looking for? Because he was not practicing to maintain, because the things cannot be maintained. Viparit Chakrasana had to be given up at some stage. He did Viparit Chakrasana when he was in 50s and 60s and 70s. But then it had to be, it went away. Not that he was doing Viparit Chakrasana at the age of 96. Many asanas left. Physical asanas, physical culture goes away as you grow older. You can't be continuing. As youngsters you can continue, but once you are oldster, it will slip away from you. Like I can't hold stand in my hand. If I hold it, it will spill out. So physical body, physical culture is something to be done in prime age, and that we have to take advantage when you are in prime age and young age. Once we become old, you get a student who is 75 years old, new student, and he says, I want to learn Viparit Chakrasana. Gone is the time. How can he learn at the age of 75 Viparit Chakrasana? He should learn when he is in 20s and 30s and 40s. So we have to take advantage of our stage of life. So which I took and was trying to improve my postures, not asanas. I was trying to improve my postures, polish my postures, etc.
So unless, if I understand what you're saying, unless you start practicing asanas in young age, like how you said, 75.
If you want to get postures, it is better to start at young age.
Yeah.
You can get yoga at any age.
Okay, so
For
asanas
yoga, there
are
is no
actually,
age bar.
the asanas, to attain the asanas is actually not a must.
Yeah, certainly. Asanas are must. At any age, you will be always in a posture.
Yes.
It doesn't mean old people have no posture. They sit, they stand, they sleep. So, asana will be there. But why asana is there for 20-year-old girl and why an asana is there for 80-year-old woman is different. Her asana will be different. What she seeks or looks for is totally different. She doesn't try to look for good configuration, photogenic asana. But asanas have purpose. Asanas are there in any age. But postures must be attained in particular age. Certain postures you don't get at this age now also, or at her age now.
Definitely.
See, when you were a baby, you took your toe to mouth. You can't take it now. Even if you want to, your toe will not come to mouth. But then, as an infant, it was quite natural thing to catch hold of the toe and get it to the mouth. So that asana is gone. I call it as Bala Mukundasana. It's called Bala Mukundasana. It's gone. Once you are past infanthood, it's gone. Once you are 7, 8 years of age, you lose something. When you are 10, 20, 10, 12, you lose something. You gain something, you lose something.
So in that case, how much, let's say for myself, I'm getting to the age of 50 and I'm starting to get weaker and weaker. I can feel it definitely. So how much should I struggle to maintain my asanas?
It is, see, you should struggle as long as they are not slipped away from you. You can struggle. There is nothing wrong in struggling to maintain it, so that you will maintain for 2-3 years more, 8-10 years more. But if you resign now itself, it will be gone next year.
Yeah.
So there is nothing in struggling as you age. But you should seek wisdom once you are crossing a particular age limit. Youngsters cannot be wise. Youngsters can be intelligent. Youngsters can be sharp, smart. But wisdom doesn't come. So asanas don't slip at any age. There are some asanas are there. The Shavasana. If no asana is coming, Shavasana is there. Pronasana is there, Shavasana is there, Sitasana is there, Standasana is there. No, asanas will be there. Nobody is postureless during the lifetime.
At your 17th birthday, when we were in Deccan Gincana, I remember that your sister were sitting on the stage and saying that first few years Guruji didn't even know you are practicing asanas, that you are practicing in your
Yeah,
own
because I was doing very clumsy, very bad. So I closed the door and I practiced.
I see.
I did not allow anyone to see my practice because I was very stiff and I was doing all asanas very clumsily. I didn't want anybody to see. And therefore I closed the door, not only for him, but for anyone. I practiced behind closed doors to fight it out myself, struggle myself. By the by, I said about Guruji's practice. Guruji clearly told all his students, while I practice, I am a philosopher. So then I realized if he is practicing as a philosopher and not a physical culturist, which I am doing. I said I was then maybe 20 years of age. I was doing physical culture in my asanas. I said, he says he is practicing, he is a philosopher, and while he is teaching, he is not a philosopher. That's why students did not understand how to read Guruji's yoga. They only learned from him, and he said, while I teach, I am a scientist. So they were all learning scientific yoga and not philosophical yoga. But he clearly said, while I practice, I am a philosopher. While I perform, I am an artist. And while I teach, I am a scientist. So all learned yoga when he was a scientist. While we saw his practice, when he was a philosopher. Then what was a philosopher? What is to philosophy? Had to be imagined. And therefore we looked into the text, sometimes talked to him, what is philosophy? If you say you are philosopher while you are practicing, what is the philosophy? So then he said that as a philosopher means I conduct myself as a philosopher. It's not thought speculation like you are Spinozas and Plutos and whatnot. Philosophers of the West, Greek philosophers and whatever. It is only thought. Philosophy is a thought. You cannot be a philosopher and not a thinker. You don't think at all and you are a philosopher. Impossible in the Western idea of philosophy. But here it is philosophy of conduct of life. How to conduct the life. How to perform the karmas, deeds in life. That is philosophy in India. Philosophy has a totally different meaning in India than in the West. Philosophy is thought speculation. Philosophy is intellectual gymnastics.
And it's also so well integrated in the culture itself.
Yeah.
In Indian culture, which
So
we don't have.
philosopher
in the
means
Western
Bhagavad
culture.
Gita. It tells you how to conduct your life. That's what philosophy of conduct of life is Bhagavad Gita. So when he said I am a philosopher, that means he was trying. So that's why he often referred to dharmendriya. How will you be in proper act? It's a particular organ you need to have. Conscience. Your conscience should be pure. Conscience should not be tainted by materialism, should not be tainted by your needs, your wants, your aspirations. So if you are having aspirations, you can't be on the path of dharma. If you have desires and wants, material desires, I want money, I want house, I want wife, husband, children. If you are wanting these material things, then you don't develop conscience. So that's why he said dharmendriya. He spoke about dharmendriya. What is right conduct? So he was learning that. How to conduct the life. He learned by his Shirshasana. We don't learn life by Shirshasana. We learn Shirshasana by Shirshasana. So today I stay 10 minutes, let me stay 45 minutes, let me stay 1 hour, let me stay 2 hours. This is what we pursue. While he was understanding the dynamics of life, he understood the life. That's why I say it is lifeology. Yoga is a lifeology. It is science of life. It tells you what the life is, how the life is, in proper perspective. Our life is only lifetime life. But the lifeology says your life is eternal. We don't say our life is eternal. It starts from birth to death. Life is over. But lifeology tells you that before your birth, you existed in some way. After your death, you are going to exist in some way. You are going to exist eternally. You existed before birth eternally. So that is lifeology. It tells you about the reality of life, metaphysics of life, not physical reality about the life. It starts with birth and ends with death. And then it goes through growth, disease, decay, old age. That's not life. That's not lifeological life. That's only life. We all will be going from infanthood to old age, teeth fall, hairs fall off, limbs tremor. That's what our life is. But there is eternal self in it, which doesn't have age. No, we are not of different age as far as our Atma is concerned, Purush is concerned. We are ageless. But you will now say, I am older than you are younger than me. That's biological. Okay.
It's like you said, the difference between being alive and being lively in the class. Just you take that.
So,
It's linked
so he
to-
was practicing for philosophy, which only tradition told me. He that cannot be taught in the class. What is philosophy and how I practice philosophy cannot be taught. He only told students should have inquired, what do you mean by philosophy? Nobody questioned. They all questioned what to do for sciatica, what to do for pregnancy, what to do for heart problem, what to do for knee problem, what to do for hip problem. This is what they wanted solutions for. Nobody asked him, why do you say you are practicing philosophy? What is your philosophy? Nobody asked him. So I have later explained it is dharma. Your rights, duties, privileges, RITE rights, RIGHT right. So if you go to my classes, some of the classes where I explained the dynamics of dharma, you have to ascertain what is your RIGHT right, what are your duties, what are the rights you have to perform. So sometimes I explain, what is this rights, RITE right. Now you are wearing cotton cloth. Why are you not wearing cotton? So the cotton is processed. The cotton becomes fabric. So you turn out threads. then you weave the threads. So spinning, then weaving, and then becomes a fabric, and then you stitch your dress. We don't wrap cotton around us. The cotton has to be processed to become a cloth. Food, you get it from grocer's shop. Cats and dogs and birds don't cook their food. They eat the food as it is. They sit on the tree, eat as it is. They eat the leaves, they eat the fruits, they eat the cereals, but we cook our food. If we don't cook the food, you can't eat raw food. Every kind of food as raw food. Only maybe salad you will use raw food, but rest is cooked, fried, processed, etc. So we have to process in our life. We have to perform some certain rites. We all were born naked. Are we going to live naked lifelong? None of us were born with a cloth on, but we all were born naked. But why is it that we started wearing clothes? And not only wearing clothes, now you go to fashion designing clothes. It's not that you just want to have cloth around you, you go for fashion designing, etc. That is called, we must do that for our life. It should be processed. We have to perform some certain rites at different ages. So a child has to do something. When the child is 10 years old, it has to do something else. If the baby of 5-6 years is to continue to do the same when it is 25 years of age, so 2 years baby will do everything on the bed. But the same child has become 25 years old, you ask him to go to toilet. So in the life we have to see, we process all these things as to what we do, why we do, how we do. If you are doing the same what you did when you were a child, the same why, what, how, even now, you will be back to mental asylum. There is something wrong with the mind.
There is one song in Hebrew about that exactly, about the child being 30 years old child, lying down in the sofa in his house.
Correct.
Exactly about that.
Yeah.
So it leads me to the next question. You talked about the science of yoga, so I wonder how do you see the evolution of the science of yoga from ancient Indian philosophy to modern international discipline? How was the transition?
See, there are two kinds of yoga functionally. One is classical yoga. The other one is customized yoga or consumer yoga. So, if somebody comes and says, I got a kidney problem, liver problem, mind problem, psychological problem, depression problem, we will cater yoga for him. So, that is customized yoga, not classical. So, in the modern world, we are looking at yoga as something for, it's a lifestyle. It is for physical culture, physical wellness, mental wellness, well-being. So that's how we cater it. So that is called applied yoga. One is pure yoga, like you have pure science, applied science. Applied science becomes useful. For the pure science is not useful for everyone. So yoga is also pure subject and applied subject. Applied subject will change from time to time. What was applied yoga 100 years back is different than what it is today. Our life is different than what the life was 100 years back. Dynamics of life, requirements of life, view of life. 100 years back, 200 years back, it was different. Our ancestors had a different outlook about the life. So it is time to time revised. Time to time customized. So one is called classical yoga, the other one is called popular yoga. Popular yoga means let's consider the time, what is popular today or what will be taken as popular thing would not have been taken 200 years back, or will not be taken after 200 years from now. So time to time it changes. So there is one which is customized yoga, which considers time, situation, time, space, situation. The other one is eternal. It doesn't consider about the time, space, situation. So there is one is pure classical yoga, the other one is light classical yoga, or applied yoga, or popular yoga. Like your classical music and pop music. Pop music is also music. But what is pop music today would not have got encashment 100 years back. Nobody would have attended them. Or 100 years from today, nobody will look for same music. They want revised, modified pop music. It changes from time to time. Pop music changes from time to time because the taste of people changes from time to time. So pop yoga is ever changing.
And what is the value of it then?
Huh?
What will be the value of it then?
The value is that it will give you good status in material life. So you don't neglect your material life, that you should be physically healthy, mentally healthy, etc., etc. You should be materially happy. So that is required in life.
Yeah.
You cannot neglect it or overlook it, stampede it. So that will be gotten by popular yoga. But also know that there is a pure yoga which is not considering, which is not related to time and space, which is beyond time and space. That is classical yoga. So some of us should also peep into classical yoga. But however, do our asanas which keeps us fit, which keeps us energetic, which keeps us healthy. Do it. So material yoga and spiritual yoga. Material yoga should be done. It should not be totally overlooked and neglected. Then your life will be miserable.
Because I think in the West, or should I say in Israel, 99% of people who come to class will come for this kind of yoga. They are
Even
not
in India,
yeah.
wow, I
Same.
wish. India is today worse than West.
You think?
We are more materialistic than the West is today. West, whatever it was 50, 100 years back, is a different thing.
Yeah.
But Indians are more materialistic people than contemporary Westerners. That's to be accepted. Is a bitter truth, but that's true. But we have also youngsters learn yoga to become teachers. Why don't we become teacher? You want a profession. What kind of profession at what age? You can't say I will take profession when I am 70 years age. You should do it 25, 30. Profession is to be opted for when you are young. And why do you want profession? You want to earn money, good money. So even Indians are learning yoga to become teachers, quacks. Nobody is looking towards a pure subject, and it will be always a rare thing. We can't expect 99% people to look at classical. 1% should at least look at it. I don't expect the revolution in yoga that everybody should look for classical. Yeah, take benefit of popular yoga. So it gives you material advantage for life, of lifetime. But there is our existence beyond life. So pure yoga also should be considered by at least 1%, 0.01%, 0.0001%. Somebody, 1 in 1,000, 1 in 10,000, 1 in 100,000, and that is enough. That is enough. We don't have to bother about 99% people what they do. They will all look for consumer yoga, popular yoga, material yoga. So legacy depends upon classical. Legacy doesn't depend on popular, because popular yoga will change from century to century, decade to decade. What is good for you doesn't mean it is good for second decade or third decade from today. Yes. 2040s. What is good today may not be good in 2040s. So something new will be coming in 2040s, and that is good. So it is fugitive, it is ever changing, it is not constant. What is constant is classical yoga. So that's why I said, Guruji, For him, Patanjali was lighthouse. And now for all his Iyengar students, Patanjali is only required for prayer, for invocation, mechanical ritual, done. Go to full arm balance, go to rope, do the physical culture, stretch and elongate and pull and push.
So you think it was something that Guruji thought about, how to do this transition from how he thought to his practitioners?
So that's why I said, when you, as teachers of yoga, start introducing students, not only cater, don't be there, treat them as clients. They come with backache, scoliosis, a menstruation problem, pregnancies. Don't just teach them that, but also slowly introduce them to esoterics of yoga. And the best portal is to make them exhale in any asana more and more and more and more. They go to subtle, they go to internal. So that's how slowly take them away from peripheral requirements, make them penetrate, and exhalation is the magic. And that's why I stress on exhalation. Try to exhale more and more and more. Now you are using your brain. Exhale completely in the brain. See what happens to brain. So introduce them to little esoterics. There is something beyond exoteric. Otherwise, brain only thinks, but esoteric says brain can be addressed. Brain can be cultured, brain can be processed, brain can be like a kitchen processor. In yoga, you will take the brain to kitchen processor. So you will do so many things in a kitchen processor, frying, grating, cutting. So many things you can do in a kitchen processor. So that's how the mind has to go through a kitchen processor, which is yoga. So slowly introduce them to esoteric aspects.
So you start from the body and then you go
Body, mind, breath.
body, mind, mind.
So that's why I said in asanas you have posture, breathasture, mindasture. Slowly introduce them.
Yeah.
They will do, otherwise there is physical culture. And you will go on teaching physical culture, straighten, harden, tighten, stretch, pull, bend, rotate. What is beyond? Go take them slowly to mind, breathasture and mindasture. So at least 1% will be slowly inclined. Maybe 2-3% will leave your class, no problem. 2% people have left, 98% are still in the class. Out of 98%, try to teach them little esoterics, take them little beyond the phenomenal by introducing them to esoterics of asanas, posture, breathasture, mindasture, physical culture, breatho culture, mindo culture. So at least 2% will be interested to pursue that way. Maybe 98% of those students may not like it. No problem, 2%, that's how the legacy will continue. Not how many people do Iyengar Yoga is not going to work for legacy. How many people are working for genuine yoga, authentic yoga, classical yoga, that will create a legacy. Okay.
So, in your opinion, what are the main challenges facing yoga practitioners today?
Facing what? Facing.
What is the challenges for yoga practitioners that they are facing today, these days?
Beginners.
Beginners or even not beginners. All of
mean,
us.
At this time
Yeah, this time.
and era.
Okay.
What are the main challenges for the practitioners?
Well, a challenge is that suppose in our time, at your time you will get a child which is only 8 years old. What yoga will you teach? A child of 15, 17, 16 comes. What to teach? Somebody is 25 years old. What to teach? Somebody is 40 years old. What to teach? Somebody is 60 years. So it cannot be standard, because we will have all the different age groups in every time. Our time, we have people, children who are only just 3-4 years old or 8-10 years old, from 18 years old to somebody 80, 90 years old in our time. So that's a challenge that we must be able to customize our yoga for people of different age, men and women, strong and weak.
I think maybe what I'm not sure, but you tell me, Dana. Maybe what she was trying to ask is, for example, I guess you know about the situation now in Israel, which is not so easy. You know, all the fighting and everything. So how can we adjust as practitioners? How can we stand through the challenge of?
In that case, the professional yoga will be definitely suffering because of the war situation, etc. People will not be freely moving. You can't go to your students' house and teach them, or not students can come. So you will suffer. Like in pandemic, many of the Iyengar studios closed.
Exactly.
So such situations do happen. They will hamper only the current yoga, popular yoga, because people cannot be freely going to learn. Teachers cannot freely go to teach everywhere.
And
so
also mentally,
you'll have to see how you will manage in given situation. So slowly you have to cut down on your material needs. Suppose in a good time you are earning something like $20,000 per month. So you'll have to be prepared to be earning only $2,000-$4,000 per month because of war situation. So that we have to consider the situation and compromise with. You can't be teaching yoga in such a way when the war situation is on, social crises are there, or other crises are there, natural calamities are there. So that will, even when for 2 years we had to stop the institute. And that's why we came to virtual classes, that is Zoom classes. So some way out has to be found out, how to go about. That depends upon situation, whether it's financial problem, social problem, or any civic problem, or epidemic. It depends upon what situation you are in, and accordingly it has to be devised. But then you will have to be prepared. You will not be flourishing with your yoga if you during the war time. When there was no war time, maybe you could go and teach. People could come and teach. You could go all over Israel and teach. Now perhaps you will not be able to go all over. People cannot come from all over. So such contingencies will be there, and our material yoga will suffer. You can't be materially happy when you have social problem, economic problem of the country, of the society. But the classical yoga remains. It doesn't really bother. It doesn't matter for it. So that's why we must be familiar with both.
Okay, so in recent years you've spoken more about Iyengar's yoga. For practitioners who may not be familiar with the term, could you explain your thoughts about it?
Guruji himself said, what I teach is not what I practice. Why I teach is not why I practice. He said this clearly. You practice for your gain, your advantage, your physical gain, material gain, worldly gain. But why he was practicing was totally different. So Iyengar Yoga is global. It is formalized because certification is there, courses are there, you are assessed, and then you are given certificate. So that is Iyengar Yoga. Iyengar Yoga means popular yoga. Iyengar Yoga means materialistic yoga, and primarily it is physical yoga, physical culture. But then Guruji's yoga is totally different. That means the philosophical dimension of it was important. So that is what Iyengar's yoga. I said we don't try to consider why was he doing yoga for 80 years. When he was losing physically, when he was losing in physical energies, he was growing older and older and older and older. Poses were slipping away from him. A time came when he lost Paripurna Matsyanasana, a time came when he lost Shirshapadasana, which is there in light of yoga. But then he was losing, and that's quite natural. If you are getting older and older and older, physically you are going to lose, but he was never a loser because he was a gainer of wisdom. We only see, oh, I was doing 100 back arches, now I do only 10. What we have lost, we assess. Because we have not gained. Wisdom did not go up for us. Only therefore, we are only facing the losses. Depreciation rate is there. No appreciation rate. For him, there was appreciation rate. He said, well, no problem, I lost Vipri Chakrasana, I got wisdom. I lost Paripurna Matsanasana, I got wisdom. 10 times more than the loss. So your loss was $10 and the gain was $1,000. Why do you consider loss of $10 then? That's why he never got dispirited. He was never sad. I'm losing, I'm losing, I'm losing. You are going to lose on the body front, but then are you gaining where you should gain? That is what Iyengar students should take care of. Otherwise, they are going to have melancholy in their life. They are going to have misery in their life. I did Shirshasana for 1 hour. Now I can't do more than 10 minutes. Misery. So that's the Iyengar's yoga. Something different has to be sought, because it is yoga is a philosophy. Yoga is not a fitness program. It is not a fitness scheme. Nobody can remain fit. Something we will lost in physical dimension by aging. You might be fit at the age of 90, but that is not the fitness of when you are 30s and 40s. It's a different fitness when you are 90 in 90s than your fitness in 20s and 30s. You can be fit at 90, but that's a different fitness. So it's a philosophy, but yoga is a philosophy, not a fitness program, not a fitness scheme, not a wellness scheme, well-being scheme. But this is what we identify in materialistic yoga. But therefore, we have to peep into classical yoga, which is transmaterial, transcendent. That is Iyengar's yoga, his yoga.
In your opinion or your point of view, what is the core message of Iyengar Yoga? What do you think is most important as we look toward the future?
What is being done as Iyengar Yoga is wonderful. There is no defect. There is nothing wrong. You need to add something. So when I was 20 years old, I was contented with something that I got. But now when I am 75, I have to get something else. So what Iyengar Yoga is being done, there is no fault in it. Do it. Do additionally something. Show them that it is beyond phenomenal, beyond physical and mental, psychological. There is some depth in it. So slowly also introduce the depth of yoga gradually. So what they are doing is not wrong. They need to do something which they are not doing. So they should know at some stage I should do. Suppose now you are going to her. When you went for first month, what she taught was okay. But now if you are going for 10th and 20th year, she cannot teach the same to you. She has to show you depth. She should take you beyond the physical, beyond the phenomenal, beyond the body and mind. So we need to do that, and that will be Iyengar's yoga incorporated in Iyengar Yoga. That is what we need to do. Why Guruji did that, we must try to introduce. Why he practiced, why he was dedicated to yoga. So I am not blaming what is going on. Continue, it is well. That's how you will take it, yoga, to nook and corner of the world. People will come to your fold. But once they come to your fold, what should you do has to be done. That is classical yoga, that is eternal yoga, that is genuine, authentic yoga. So let's see where are we lacking. It is a philosophy. Are we bringing any slightest clue that what you practice is philosophy? Suppose you go to her for 40 years, and you don't realize it's a philosophy, then that's not right. First year she should not stuff down philosophy. You have come for philosophy, learn. No. Teach whatever you are teaching. Prepare them slowly. Okay. That's why I have written the books, Yogasana, Ashtadesha Mahakriyas. If Light on Yoga was magnum opus, there was no need for me to write. But then, to bring the classical aspects of yoga, I said there are Ashtadesha Mahakriyas, there is Chitta Vijnana Asanas, and not just feel fine. You should become good. You will not feel fine, but become good, become better. Feeling fine is one thing, it is temporary. But to become good is another thing. Okay.
For the last question, I want to ask you, as a young teacher, you mentioned that neither you or Gita ji were taught by Guruji how to become teachers. So I wonder how did you develop?
He did not teach us because he said, I stay in your house. Why don't you learn? You learn. Why should I teach? But outsiders, it was necessary that he taught. Unless he taught, they would not learn.
Yeah.
But when he was around in the house, 24 hours, 24 into 7, he said, you learn. Why do you expect me to teach?
But then still, I remember the last Yoga Nushasanam when there was the Q&A part and you were asked which one of you are doing Iyengar Yoga, and you said this beautiful answer. You said, we are both two branches under the same tree.
Correct. Yeah.
And then it all sets, I mean, for
Correct,
me it
correct.
was beautiful answer.
Yeah,
So, but still it's interesting to understand how each one of you developed such a different way of teaching, or
it's not differently. As Guruji said, these are two different branches. A tree will have more than
yes,
couple of branches, tens of branches. So each branch has something different, shape or form of length and whatever. So we were two branches, different branches, but of the same tree. So you cannot have all branches identical for a tree.
True.
So if there are 10 children, then 10 branches.
Okay, thank you so much,
you.
Prashant, for
Pleasure.
Thank you
the
so
time.
much.
Pleasure.
It was
Namaskar.
very
Namaskar.
meaningful for us, and I'm sure for the whole Israeli community.
And of course for your teaching for all these years. It's priceless for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's why I said I'm not teaching, I'm giving education, because I thought teaching has been done for all these years and somewhere education has to come in. And that's why I stopped teaching the classes, but I said I should do educating the students about yoga.
Thank you so
Namaste.
much.
Namaste.
Namaste.